Hi, today I'm going to show you how I crochet a granny square. Now granny squares can be big, they can be small, they can be massive to fit a bed. I've been crocheting these for, I swear, like 40 years. Gosh, can I say 40 years? I started in school, so yeah, about 40 years. And I'm still using the blanket that I crocheted today. And so I'm going to show you how I do it. Everyone does it differently. Maybe you're going to do it my way. I don't know. Let's see how we go. So I'm showing you this top. This is a top. Did you know that? This is actually just two granny squares that I then joined and added an extra couple of rows for the sleeves. And this is what I made for my daughter. Granny squares can be cushions, throw rugs, pram blankets, cot blankets for the bed, and you can wear them. So I've made a couple of these style for my kids. They love them. This one's actually made from possum. You can see the slight fuzzy wuzzy. It's super warm and it's winter here, so this is really handy. And what I've just done is every now and then I've just incorporated a little cluster of green just to make it a bit different. So I actually won a prize on this one, which was pretty cool. Freestyled it, no pattern, just how big's my daughter. I made it that wide, made it a bit wider. So that's how I crochet. You know, I crochet all the time. Sometimes you don't want to crochet a blanket, you want to crochet something different that can be worn. But I wanted to show you how I have things set up. So I have a bag of all the yarn, and I went into my cupboard and gathered all the yarn, the same colours, same style. So I just put them all in here. So this is a big bag of cottons, and I actually just keep this in a bag with this underneath the chair, ready to go whenever I feel like doing granny squares. They're my go-to comfort type of thing. And this is what I keep my little granny squares in that I'm working on. So if we have a look, because I like to do little squares, join them together, make the blanket. Occasionally I'll do a big blanket, which is just row and row and row of granny squares like this blue. Just keep going rather than joining little ones. You just keep going and you can do whatever size you want. But at the moment I'm doing a bunch of little ones, and then I'm going to join them into a big blanket, probably. I don't know. Yeah, probably a blanket. I don't know. I just crochet. And then so then this will be joined here. I crochet as I crochet. It's called crochet. Join as you go. And so in another clip I'll show you how you join them. But today we'll just focus on crocheting the squares. So this is what they look like. They're soft because they're cotton too, by the way. So you can just do them, you can do whatever you like. You can do mainly one colour with the second joining colour. Where's another one? I haven't done actually all individual colours yet, but you can do them any pattern, any colours. You can use variegated yarn, whatever you want. So these ones are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows wide, 5 rows width. Was that what you call them? And then I join it on the 6th row. So the finished square is going to be 6. So you can do 3 rows, 4 rows, whatever you want. So don't feel like you have to follow this fully. And to count them, you count the corners. So you go from the middle, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you know that's 5 rows. Now, if you don't believe that, then here you can easily go 2, 3, 4, 5. But otherwise, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the 5 rows. In the side of my pocket here, I always have a crochet hook per project. That way you know what you're using. So I always keep the crochet hook and a little pair of scissors in my project bag. And then in the side pocket, I have, let's have a look. I have 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows. So depending if I want to start, I get a new colour. So if I do this colour today, then I'll do 1 row, and then I'll come along, and then I'll finish that off, and then that little orangey colour will then have 1 row, and then I'll come along and I'll do 2 rows. So this will be number 2, then this will have 3 rows, and then 4 rows, and then this will be finished 5th, if that makes sense. But anyway, today we're going to start with doing 1 row, and then we'll turn it into 2 rows. Easy, trust me. Crocheting, I can probably crochet with my eyes shut, but I won't do that for this video because it's not going to help you at all. So let's get started. I forgot to mention that if you look, I like fairly tight squares. So some people have some, so you can see that, see the hole in the middle. I don't. I like a fairly tight square, and some people have to have bigger corners. Some people have to have chains in there, so it's a looser square. I like a tight square. So this is how I crochet a granny square. Starting to crochet, we started with the very center. So we're starting at the very center, which is here. So we were going to do this initial circle here. I'll also show you on my little one. So I'm going to be making this little guy. As you can see, it's got 4 corners. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, I like my corners tight because this is how it works out. If I have bigger loops, then these here are going to be wider. But right, this is what we're going to do. So we start with a loop. So we just go around your finger, and you can either use your hook or your finger, and you get a loop. I'll show you that again because I've done this so many times. So hold it with these fingers or these fingers. So I tend to hold it with those. I go around over the top, pull it off your finger, and then push that back yarn through the middle and tighten, and then you've got your loop. And then I just tighten it up. Now like I said, I'm going to do a 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and then I go back into this first chain because I like a tiny little loop, and that is my center, believe it or not. Now you can either do a standing chain or a 3 chain, sorry, or a standing double crochet or treble, depending on what you're doing, but that's what I do. So you can, if you wanted to, probably easy to start with a 3 chain, but this is how I crochet. So you're going to call these trebles, you're going to call these DCs, double crochets, whatever you want to call them. Now my trick is I crochet over this end as I go around, and that just helps keep it all nice together. And I put 2, I'll show you again, 2 into the corner, so I like a small corner. And then as I'm going around, I'm catching this back thread as I go, because I like to weave in my yarns as I go, or crochet my yarns in ends as I go, because I don't like doing it at the end. So right, we've got the first corner, we've got the second corner. I grew up calling these trebles, and nowadays I tend to call them double crochets. It depends on, I don't know, how you grow, how you grew up, what patterns you use, whereabouts in the world you live. So now I've got 2 corners. My third corner, and I'm still catching that yarn behind. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do my last corner. So 1, 2, 3, and because I've done a standing double crochet or standing treble, I've got a top there at the front. So I stopped doing 3 chain quite a few years ago, but I used to start these with a 3 chain. So that's how I've done the first square. So I'll just go and do the second row so you can see that, and then I'll start another one. So I tend to start, when I'm doing the second row, I tend to just do 2, and then I come back here and do the third one when I'm finishing up. So now, because this is on the bottom, I'm not including that back thread anymore. 1, 2, 3. And then another 3 here. And so this will be, you can just keep doing a blanket like this and keep going around and around and around and around and around. But I'm trying to use up my yarn stash. I like the colours all blended together. So I like doing different colours. I like some having 3 rows of one and 2 rows of another, or I just like mixing it up. I just think it makes an interesting blanket at the end. So we've got the 2 corners. We're into our 3rd corner. Okay, so we're just into this 3rd corner now. 2 chain. And then we're on our 2nd, 3rd cluster. And now we're into our last cluster before we're back at the start. So 1, 2, 3. And now if you remember, this only had 2, so we need to do the corner, and then I come around and I finish this treble cluster off, or double crochet cluster, and then I'm just going to join it into the top there. And I'm done. Now I'm going to just weave in the ends here. Just grab my little scissors, trim them off. Now to finish this colour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull him through and pull that out, and that kind of knots it. But because I like lots of these at a time, I then just take a minute and just crochet it through the top. You can darn it in, but I've already got my crochet hook in hand, and I take it around until it's pretty much disappeared. And when I hit the corner here, because you haven't got that same stitch, I'm just doing it right into the back loop. This is going to get hidden with the next row. And just go all around. Now this is how I've always finished my blankets. The blankets that I've made 30 odd years ago haven't come undone. This keeps it on. So this keeps it nice and strong. So when you've done your next row, you've crocheted over here, and this has gone tight, and this holds these ends up nice and tight. And if I was going to finish here, I would finish it on a corner and then just leave it. So I finish it here, and I would finish it there. Now this guy here, it's already gone around once, but I'm just going to grab my hook and just weave it around. Doesn't have to be pretty, no, too pretty. Like I said, you could use a darning needle here, but I've already got my hook out, and then I just pull it through. This just adds some extra protection in. And pull him out. And I'll do that one more time, and then I'll trim this guy. Okay, come here, you. When it cooperates. Doesn't help that I'm sitting in a cold kitchen. All right, so I've done that around a couple of times. So now I'm just going to trim him. Let's go. So now if I was to redo this row with another colour, I'd probably start here, go round, and then I would start just crocheting over the top of this. But let's start another one. I'll do another granny square. I'll do this one in purple. So you can see how I started again. So we'll just pause this for a second. Okay, I had to cough, so my apologies. So we're just going to do another loop. And we'll tighten it again. And remember, this is the end we're going to be catching in, and then this is your working yarn. So I always try to have that one at the back, hanging down or at the back. So 1, 2, 3, and then into, see it's really loose, into this third one here. And in, and you've done it. And then 1, 2, because I'm doing a standing stitch. There it is again. Do you want me to show you that again? Let me move this one out of the way in case it's blocking the vision. We'll start again. You ready? We're going to go around, bring him through, and we've got our first stitch. Then we're going to do our chain, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to bring it right down back here to the start and catch him, and we've got our really tiny loop. Remember, this is how I crochet. You can do like 4 or 5 crochets to start. 1, 2, and then I'm going to come right down here, and that is my standing stitch, and we've done it. And now we're going to just finish off that first cluster. So that's 2 in the cluster, 3 in the cluster, and then 2 for the corner, 1, what's that, 2 in the cluster, 3 in the cluster, 3 in the cluster, and then 1, 2. And we've got 2 corners so far. Alright, we've got 1 more cluster to go, but we need to do the corner. 1, 2. Into the corner, into the middle. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're onto our last corner. If we can get it in there. And there we have done 1 row, or a center piece, whatever you would like to call it. Pull him tight, and then like I'm going to just do the same thing. Weave this little tail in. I don't know why I call the yarn he. I have absolutely no idea why. But we'll pull him through here. And that's how we do that one. And then you can just keep going around until it's done. And then because we've got to do this, finish off the center, make it a little bit tighter. No, it's not going to let me catch it, is it? So I'm just you know what, because I can't quite catch it at the moment because it's so cold here in the kitchen, I just can't get it. I'll come back with a darning needle later on and do it. Because if the majority of the time you're doing the ends, it doesn't matter if you leave the odd one out. So what I'd like to do, as I was showing before, I like to do a pile of different ones. So now I've got 2 center pulls, I've got 2 rows, I've got a 3 row and a 4 row. So what I can do now is I'll show you how to add in a color. So how about we use this color again, and how about we put it on, we'll put it on this one. I can't put it on this one here, we'll put it on this one here, the purple, because it's got a tiny little tail. And I'll show you how to add a color on. So we start again at here. Now if it starts here, I tend to start over here, or you can start here. Maybe we'll start here. Don't start on the same row as the end, because then you've got to work 2 ends in at the same time. So once again, I'm doing a standing double crochet or a standing treble. So now I'm going to, now that I've done that, I'm going to pull this back one up, and I'm going to start crocheting that piece into the work. See how I caught it up there? Because I'm trying to kind of weave it in as I go. Now I want to come up here and have it in, and now I'm going to bring that guy back in front. Oops. And drop my crochet hook. Okay, right, try again. I'm going to bring that around so he's in front, because I know the next thing I'm going to do is crochet here in the corner, and I'm going to put him to the back and hit that corner, and I'm going to put him down low, and then we've got something to pin him down into that corner. And this is how I have always woven in my ends as I go. You kind of weave your own design. So I've got one more to go. Because this is the last in the cluster, I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to bring him over, and then that's how I've got that so far. So then I'm going to take him back to the back again, and then I bring him round to crochet on him. And then because this is the end of the cluster, I'm going to bring him back up, and it just sort of magically makes him woven in. And because you're here on the corner, I'm going to bring it down and weave that little guy in all the way around that corner. So this is what we've got on the back. We've got that little tail here, and we've got it coming up to this one. So we pretty much have finished with this one area at the back. I'm going to leave him here at the back, and then he'll get trimmed later on. Because now I'm going to come over here, and this one I finish just at the start of a gap. I'm going to just fold him across and he'll get woven in as you crochet. See, he's all gone already. And if I finish this third one off in the cluster and turn it around, he's woven in, magic. So then we can go around and finish this one off as we've done before, and then that's how we do 2. I should have said that's how we do 3, the third row. But anyway, so that's what we've got. So this is what I keep in my little bag. So if I only want to do just a whole bunch of centers in one color, I'll just do a whole bunch of centers. If I just want to use this dark color, then I can come in and do a center. Then I can grab this one and do a second row. I can do this one, do the third row, this one, the fourth, etc., etc. And then you can just keep going up until you've got the size that you want. And I was saying this is the size that I like. Number 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and then I join on the 6th. But that will be a different video. So that's how I crochet. I'd love to know how you crochet. Have you got a little tips, any tips that you can share to anyone? How long have you been crocheting? I've been crocheting forever, it feels like. Even my son loves crocheting now. But see how like the same color combinations, you can turn them out differently depending on what you use. This is majority light green, majority dark green.